I'm not sure how many have heard me speak already. Okay, so I can tell the story about my daughter. You won't tell the punchline, right? I'm married. I've been married for 22 years, and I have 2 children. I have a son who just turned 17 this summer, and a daughter who turned 18 in March, which means she could register to vote, and she did. And I've asked her if she'll consider voting for me this fall, and she said she'll consider it. What got me into this race? I'm the city clerk in Woburn. I've been city clerk going on 13 years, and in the summer of 2008 there was an effort to have election day registration in Massachusetts. That means you can go to a polling place on election day, register to vote, and vote. And there's nothing to keep you from going to another polling place, registering to vote and vote, except for 2 things. One, hopefully your conscience doesn't let you do that, and secondly, it's illegal. Some people have said, Bill, that would be convenient. If someone forgot to vote, forgot to register to vote, they could just show up on election day and register to vote. However, I think it opens the door for fraud. And in May this year in April, a gentleman was indicted for allegedly doing just that, showing up at one polling place, registering to vote, going to another place, registering to vote. That's still filtering through the court system, but it can happen. And the other thing is the cost. It costs about $1 million each election day to implement election day registration. There are 2,100 precincts in Massachusetts. You probably need teams of 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, because you can't expect 2 people to sit at a table for 13 hours without getting up for one reason or another. And as you know, we always do things in pairs in elections, not because it's convenient, but because we're supposed to make sure the other guy's not cheating. So when you do the math, it comes out to about $1 million each election day. So that'd be $1 million for the primary on September 14th and $1 million for the election November 2nd. I think it's a poor use of money. My second issue is that we're not doing enough for military voters in Massachusetts. It takes at least 45 days to get a ballot from Massachusetts to military personnel and back. Massachusetts has to change its primary day. That's the simple solution. It will cost taxpayers nothing to do it. Most states have already done this. Massachusetts has asked for a waiver, and it was granted by the Pentagon, as you know. We're going to be sending ballots to military personnel by email and by fax. That, one, creates more challenges for them finding email and fax machines, but secondly, it also invades the privacy of the vote. If their ballots go out and come back in the mail with all the other absentee ballots, the security and privacy of the ballot will be more secure. I launched a webpage yesterday called LetTheTroopsVote.com, which is a petition to the legislature urging them to change the primary date. If you want to go on there and sign that, that would be great. We're going to turn that over to the legislature at some point later in this year, because I'm going to go to work changing these issues even before I'm Secretary of State. The third issue is ID at the polls. I think that we should show an ID when we go to a polling place. The U.S. Supreme Court's already said it's constitutional, and they pointed out that you need an ID to check into a hotel, to cash a check, to board a plane. And I know at Blockbuster a couple of weekends ago, I needed one to rent a video.
You have my vote just for that.
And as the Supreme Court said, voting is at least as equally as important as those issues. And I think, and we all agree, that voting is more important than those issues. I've got a tough race. I'm running against somebody who's been on the Hill in one capacity or another for 40 years, 16 years in the present position. I've been running hard. My last story is I meet a lot of guys and women running for state representative and state senator, and they're going through shoes. Well, when I got out this morning, I had a flat tire. I'm going through tires. And I'm driving all over the state, meeting people, meeting with groups such as yours. I thank you very much for your attention tonight. I thank you very much for your activity and for getting involved. My name is Bill Campbell. I'm running for Secretary of State. I need your support, and I ask for your vote on November 2nd. Thank you.
American Legion, about 3 or 4 weeks ago in Boston, and spoke to White about, I thought the Legion should be taking a bigger stand about the military votes not being counted. I got a thing back from Gavin's office saying, oh, don't worry about it, they're all set. I called them today, and I asked, one of the states that has asked for an extension. They said, don't worry, we've got this all set. Is Massachusetts still one of the states, and we got the extension?
On August 4th, it was the last day to request a waiver, and a waiver request was filed, and this past Friday, it was granted.
Well, that's a shame. That's a mark of the state of Massachusetts that we cannot count our military things. And they've been lying to me. I've been calling them. They know I'm the crazy lady in Lunenburg. And I think, talk to Whitey, I think the Legion should have taken a stand on this.
Thank you. Did anybody get that question?
Lobbyists.
The question was whether Massachusetts was one of the states that requested a waiver from the 45-day mandate. And yes, Massachusetts is one of the states that requested a waiver from the 45-day mandate. Is there anyone there?
Real quick, in reference to the military online voting, you and I had a conversation at one point about maybe having a secured website come from a military base that would allow them to do their polls through that particular internet access, so they don't have to be sending anything to or from. It can just take place like they would go to the base, to whatever room it might be that would be a secured military website that they could vote in that sense. Is that something you might try to push through for them?
Right, and the question was, can we have secure online voting for military personnel? I think we can. We can't today. I mean, we have the technology, but building it in that way. I was involved with a group that is actually studying that, but it's not today. So what do we do today to resolve the issue? And it's a simple fix, and that's just to change the date, keep the paper moving. But yeah, I think at some point, and I met a gentleman who has a card, the ID card. He said, "This is my whole life on this card." He said, "If I voted with this, we can be secure." So I think that's where we go with it. But today, how do we help the guys stay? We should have done is change the primary. So what I'm trying to do is change the primary for next time while we continue to move forward with those technological changes.
Do you think it's possible by next year that even whether primaries changed or not, there should be no reason? I mean, it's really not going to take a rocket scientist to figure that out to be able to help this go through. I just wasn't sure if this is something that you would help push through as well.
Yeah, technology, yes, absolutely. To try to move it. I think most of the guys that I meet would like to have that opportunity to vote online, as long as they knew it was secure and private, and that's very important.
Quick question. Do you have a primary challenger?
Do I have a primary challenger? No. I'm straight to November 2nd on the ballot, November 2nd.
There was a change that had to be made in the vote in Massachusetts. Galvin's office in 6 days sent all of the stuff that needed to be done and dropped it on the town clerk. But he got it done in 6 days so people could vote on it. And then he's saying, his office is now saying that they couldn't do this quick enough for